Hey everyone, Mr. Happy here, and in this video, just want to talk to you about some upcoming content for Dauntless. Now, we make videos about Dauntless every now and again, talking about certain aspects of it, the exotic weapon, some of the new updates that are upcoming, and there's a pretty major patch that's going to be coming this August to Dauntless, right towards the end of the summer, that I'm super excited for, and I want to share with you all some details about. Now, in case you're wondering what we're looking at here, Dauntless has an open roadmap via Trello, which is a website that, well, allows you to do stuff like this. And they've been pretty open. They update it with things that they're currently working on, you know, feedback that they've received, stuff that's currently, I guess, off in the distance in terms of what they're working on, and then specific patches, what we can expect, at least a general overview of certain things. So if you're wondering what Dauntless is up to, if you're someone who's, you know, waiting for the game to constantly evolve, maybe get more behemoths, more weapons, this is usually a good thing to have bookmarked, and I'll include it as a link in the description, because it just has that information, and you can always check it any given week to see, is there anything new, is there anything not, or if somebody says there's something new, you can usually find it here. But anyway, they have a couple of patches upcoming. Like I said, the Coming Storm is the name of the patch that's going to be hitting in August, and that's the majority of this column right here, the 0.4.5 and the 0.5.0 patches. Before that, there is going to be patch 0.4.4, which is going to be bringing some combat balance and some other changes to the game as well. For example, some tuning to Rezakiri and his limbs, Tragic Echo, one of the exotics of the game, quicker deployment of pylons, you know, cells that have just completely been abused and just completely busted and destroy everything in the game. Airstrike beacons being fixed up, elemental effect trigger changes, and affinity for elemental damage is one of the ways that we're differentiating weapons. We're tweaking the way that elemental effects trigger to be based on the number of hits landed instead of the damage done to further differentiate swords and chain blades, making chain blades a more effective elemental application weapon since they land a lot more hits on average. The medic perk is going to be nerfed because it is OP. I just hope it's not nerfed too much because I do like that perk quite a bit. Maybe just get rid of the shield on +6 medic, or maybe make it 90% max health instead of 100. Something like that, but I think just getting rid of the shield on +6 medic cells is probably going to be the way to go. Giving people more access to roofs in Ramsgate for those who like parkour. Stuck Under Island improvements, new partner flares. I'm a partner. I have my own flare. There's going to be even more partner flares coming in patch 0.4.4. Strav and Rezakiri are going to be removed from the heroic Maelstrom patrols. They're just going to be off on their own thing. So that way you don't go up against these other behemoths and then you end up fighting Strav and Rezakiri, who are debatably the hardest behemoths. I know some of the non-Shroud and Rezakiri behemoths have been tuned up and can be pretty brutal. Deadeye especially seems to be doing a lot more damage than one would expect him to do. Equipping from the crafting menu, weapon and armor sorting improvements, quest order and requirements tuned and altered, and altering the requirements to complete Behemoth Lantern quests. So 0.4.4, a lot of kind of basic stuff you'd expect in a beta, but it's really 0.4.5 and 0.5.0, the Coming Storm, where we're going to be seeing a significant amount of content being added into the game for the next patch. So a new behemoth, we don't know what it is, but a new behemoth is going to be on the way. Personally, I'm hoping it's something that is on the same level of Shroud and Rezakiri. They're two very exciting fights, very uniquely designed fights, and I look forward to more behemoths that take on that approach and take on that level of difficulty. Weapon 6. Now, the last weapon that we got was the War Pike, and it's a semi-ranged weapon. You basically have to stay in melee range to charge up the War Pike, and then once you have, you know, any sort of energy, the more energy you have, the better, obviously. You can load that into the War Pike as ammo and then release it as a charged shot, which can be used for things like interrupts, just for big damage, and, you know, doing bonus damage to wounds. However, the 6th weapon is going to be a fully ranged weapon. This has been one of the biggest requests for Dauntless for quite some time, because the previous 5 weapons, even if they have semi-ranged components like the Gunhammer or the War Pike, they are ultimately still melee-centric weapons. So, first fully ranged weapon is coming to Dauntless, strictly based on feedback, which is super exciting. Now, we don't know what kind of weapon it is. There's kind of a rumor / meme going around the community that it's dual pistols, but there's been no hard confirmation from the devs what that weapon will be. We've received hints such as you'll need 2 hands in order to actually wield the weapon, and we can expect, I think it was like barrels and a chamber or something along those lines. Just a couple of one-word things to let you know that it sounds very much like a gun. I'm hoping for a big old shotgun. Although a minigun with barrels, there's a lot of barrels in a minigun. We'll just have to wait and see. There's no way of knowing in advance what it's going to be. On top of that, more consumables. We've got things like stamina potions, pylons, and now we're going to be getting grenades. Different effects and tactical applications. I'm hoping for at least the basics, a fire grenade, an ice grenade, and a lightning grenade to apply elemental damage, or at least to more often trigger an elemental, I guess, a trigger. They call it in the thing itself here on Trello. An elemental trigger. I don't know if perhaps they're thinking of wound grenades or I don't know, just pure damage grenades. I'd hope there's at least 4 or 5 different grenades, maybe more. But that's at least the thing I can think of the least. Maybe there's going to be status effects, maybe sleeping grenades, maybe... I don't know, there's a lot of grenades you can do, it's just a question of which ones they will do. But another thing for those who, maybe you find yourself not really using your potions or not using as many of your consumables, and you'd really prefer to have another offensive option in that area, grenades are going to be right up your alley. So I'm looking forward to seeing how those are implemented. Now, one of the big things they're working on still is making the islands feel more alive. Right now, it's basically a battlefield, especially because the goats, the only fauna on the entire islands, don't even attack and cannot be attacked. They used to be able to, but they removed that ability while they work on them. One thing we're going to be getting in these patches is points of interest. So they want it so that when you go in there, you might find like a town that was destroyed, or maybe a camp that was set up by previous hunters. And maybe there's items scoured about that you can temporarily use for the sake of that mission, or even store them away for the next mission. Basically, they want the islands to feel like, you know, you're going to these things, and you know, they're different islands, but they're alive, and they're points worth discovering that aren't just looking for, you know, plants or just finding the behemoth and getting rid of it. Now, also, there's a new island coming, and we have a pretty good idea of what kind of island this is, the island of Ostia. Now, on the Reddit announcement where it said the coming storm was coming in August, the top post mentions that Ostia is coming. Now, Ostia is, from what I understand, a town. Specifically, it's a town slash city slash hub where the weaponsmith that we have in Ramsgate actually comes from. So I guess the question is Ostia, are we going to see this destroyed Ostia and what destroyed it, aka the behemoth that we hadn't encountered yet? Or is it going to be an area with more NPCs, more quests, more places for people to hang out, more visuals? We don't know, but they seem to want to start moving sort of the narrative and lore components forward a little bit more. So if the new island is indeed Ostia, which we have every right to believe it will be, I hope that it's, you know, it provides something a little bit more context, because that's the one thing Dauntless is kind of missing still, is context for the things that are happening there. We know just kind of what we have to know and nothing else. Also, a cell vendor. We don't have one of these in the game. Cells basically being the resource you can use to customize your weapons and armor with bonus effects, similar to gems in Monster Hunter World, for example. And we don't have a vendor for those. Basically, you just have to open up cores, which you get from completing daily quests or reputation grinds or weekly quests and whatnot. There's going to be a vendor for these. Now, we don't know if they're going to specifically be purchased with notes, the common currency in the game, or if they are going to be earned through certain means. Maybe you have to bring them certain parts back from a behemoth. We don't know yet, but we know that this vendor will be in Ramsgate, and they're going to be helping us create, organize, and interact with cells. Big request. A lot of people have been requesting some sort of cell vendor, so we have an active goal to work towards for our different builds. Now, Evergame and progression. Evergame being basically this game's end game, which is the Maelstrom. It's the final set of islands, at least at the current moment of this recording, and it has rotating modified behemoths in a sense where, you know, there's 4 behemoths active in the Evergame at any given point, whether you're on normal or heroic. Rezikiri and Shroud are currently always available there, on top of the 4 when you're playing on heroic. And we are waiting to see how this sort of differentiates itself from endgame in certain other games in the genre. One of the big things that's been setting it apart is exotics. And I don't think there's no mention of it here. New quests, new daily hunts, the coming storm, and additional factions and reputation tracks are listed here. Exotics so far for me have been the one way that Dauntless has kind of stood apart from other games in the genre, having these unique effects, Tragic Echo being a very popular one right now, with the other exotics needing to kind of be tuned up a little bit, because the common consensus is that the other 3 exotics that we have currently, other than Tragic Echo, could definitely use a little bit of work. That being said, new quests, new daily hunts. I mean, there's not much to say here. New characters and story moments for the Shattered Islands, though, are part of the quest, which is, again, good. It seems like they're starting to try and add context to why what we're doing is so important. New daily hunts as well. New daily hunts will keep you sharp. New ways to test their skills. Curious to see how those are going to be working. Coming Storm, just a general overview, new weapon, new Behemoth, new challenges. Again, very broad, very general. Additional factions and reputation tracks. We currently have 3. Ones that are missing would be the Armor Smith. I wonder if the Cell Vendor would have a reputation track by any means. And, I'm trying to think. I guess it's not super important, but more factions, reputation tracks, so that way you have more micro goals to work on to earn even more bonus rewards so you can get to those things that you need to really make your character come online. And there's no other sort of, I guess, mention here of anything else. I guess they're still kind of keeping it really broad, considering we still have to go through 0.4.4. But you can also get an idea of player feedback, solo play balance, Chainblade iframes, bugs with the God Hand, which is one of the exotics in the game, wounding behemoths, routing slayers to correct servers. We know one thing they're working on is making it so that when you disconnect from the game while you're in the middle of a hunt, they want to make it so you can just return directly to the hunt. Player collision, Hellion and Stormclaw balance, weapon balance, cell system, just a bunch of things over here that we're working on. They also tweeted that there's going to be new glamour sets, for example, or transmog sets, which are in the game. That's one of them that was shown off. And yeah, there's a bunch of stuff that they're still working on. There's also the future, Weapon 7 aerial combat, combo variety, uncapped frame rate, video and graphics settings, passive fauna, like I mentioned with the goats, aggressive fauna, which is something the game hasn't had, and I feel like it's been missing a lot. More spaces for social activities, more interactive elements in Ramsgate, places to celebrate player achievement, gathering and crafting consumables, new quest challenges, which is pretty generic, cosmetic pets, guild functionality, streamer guild, hey, that'll work for me, exotic gear, Cherog, flame on, there you go, more exotics, I can't wait for that. Looking for group features, mid-hunt rejoin after crash disconnect, and even a console version. This was also just recently added into the future, but no mention of any sort of date. The game still has a long way to go on PC, so those of you looking forward to a console version of Dauntless, don't expect it anytime soon. I can't speak for them, but I'll just speak from what I personally think. It should be a pretty long time before a console version of Dauntless actually hits. But anyway, let me know what you think about the details for 0.4.4, 0.4.5, 0.5.0, that dude honking, and the future of Dauntless. Let me know what you think in the comment section of the video below, and let me know, I'm actually curious what some of your exotic ideas would be, and I might make a separate video for this all together, but I just have a bunch of ideas for exotics based on the different behemoths in the game, and if you have any, I'd love to hear them, because this has been something I've loved speculating with other people, especially for the Cherog. So if you've played the game and you know how the Cherog works, let me know exotic ideas that you have, because I'm very curious to hear what other people kind of hope to see in regards to exotics for Dauntless. Anyway, thank you for watching this video. Be sure to like, favorite, subscribe, and share, and stay tuned as we get closer to these patches and updates. We'll be sure to upload some more content on Dauntless on the channel. Anyway, thanks for watching. I will see all of you in the next video, and until then, take care.